Hey everybody, welcome to the Kidney Coach YouTube channel. I am Fiona.
Hey everybody, I'm Dr. Matt.
So Matt and I thought we would chat to you today about one of our favorite herbs, Dan Shen, and all the amazing things that it does in kidney disease. But Matt, you are the acupuncturist plus chiropractor. So why don't you start us with your understanding of Dan Shen, and then I can chip in with my naturopathic understanding if we need to.
Well, great. We are grateful to be here with you. And as we're recording this, it is actually New Year's Day 2021. So here's to your healing. And if you've been diagnosed with kidney disease or you've been struggling with chronic kidney disease, we're just really grateful to be here with you. And part of what is a major component of the kidney disease solution is using herbs or supplements in order to heal. We have a tremendous amount of wisdom, knowledge, experience, and science from Chinese medicine. And there have been herbs used for years to improve kidney function. And one of those herbs is Dan Shen. So this is really exciting because Dan Shen is the actual Chinese name or the pinyin name of the herb itself. And Dan Shen has been used for thousands and thousands and thousands of years to improve the flow of qi, to improve the flow of what the Chinese called jing or essence. And so these words, qi, jing, essence, they may not mean a lot to us, but what they observed for hundreds of years, for thousands of years, is that it raised people's energy. It made people more resilient. Today, we know so much more about it. Now, Fiona will talk a little bit about this, but one thing that we know about Dan Shen is that it improves, now here's where I want you to listen, it improves glomerular filtration. There's a mouthful. Glomerular filtration. And so remember, when you go back to kidney disease solution, there's two main functions of the kidneys: regulate and remove. Regulate and remove. If you want to kind of up your game with that science of that, go back and watch the pH video we made where Fiona talks all about pH and why the kidney's function of regulating our body's pH is huge. I mean, it's like, that's how our body works. It's also one of the main channels of removing detoxification, so getting rid of stuff we don't need. So when Dan Shen improves glomerular filtration, boom, that's improving the body's ability to both regulate and remove. So that's really big. One thing I love about Dan Shen as well is it is really good for circulation. It gets the blood flowing where the blood needs to go. And when that happens with proper pH, tissues heal, we feel good, we get oxygenated, stuff that we don't need gets thrown out, and we get to regenerate. Last thing I just want to say about Dan Shen is that it is a very broad spectrum antimicrobial, antifungal, antiviral. So it is a kind of a little known plant that also just regulates your body, helps your body regulate its internal immune environment. You know, we could talk probably on a whole hour-long podcast about this, but there are certain things that the body needs to get better with in order to heal chronic kidney disease. In one video, we talked about heavy metals. So here you have a plant medicine that has the ability to help your body get rid of, maybe it's a chronic virus or chronic bacteria or just fungal stuff. And look, we all can have those things. And with Dan Shen, it's almost like you don't need to worry about it so much because it's such a broad spectrum healer of the kidneys, whilst having this cool effect of kicking out the guys that you don't want, who stayed past last call. So I'll stop there and turn it over to Ms. Fiona.
Oh, I actually don't think I knew that about Dan Shen. So what's really cool is Matt, being an acupuncturist and a chiropractor, when he learned his Chinese herbs, he learned them in the really proper traditional sense of Chinese medicine. Being a naturopath, we learn them in the naturopathic sense. So we still understand the qi and the jing, but we learn it more, how it fits and what the scientific studies have shown, which is great. But, I believe ancient wisdom from Chinese medicine, we're still catching up to using herbs and finding out why they work the same way that they've worked traditionally. And so it's a lovely bridge between the two. So Dan Shen, in Western herbal medicine, it's also known as Salvia, miltiorrhiza, or red sage more commonly. And as Matt said, it's been used in Asia for years. What we know it as primarily is a major, we call them kidney tonics and kidney protectives, or kidney protection. It helps heal scarring. So if people are prone to renal scarring, which obviously in the end stages of kidney disease is something that really accelerates the damage to the kidneys. It's a fabulous blood tonic and blood pressure tonic. So that's one of the things that Matt was talking about, circulation. What we know is it lowers blood pressure and helps preserve and promote cardiovascular health. We often I often see emails coming through to our support team, and we see people start taking Dan Shen and their blood pressure comes down. And so the question is, oh my goodness, do I still need to take my blood pressure medication? Which is something that we would never comment on. We always say, go and speak to your doctor. But one of the things we do say that if you are taking Dan Shen and it's something you decide to do and you're on blood pressure medication, please make sure you keep an eye on your blood pressure, because a lot of people will experience their blood pressure coming down. And that then may be something you can work with your specialist with to actually reduce the dosage of your blood pressure medication, which is amazing. And of course, we know one of the things in kidney disease is we want to keep your blood pressure absolutely at the highest at 130/80. So if Dan Shen can help bring blood pressure down, you don't have such a high pressure of blood flowing through the kidneys, which of course, when they're damaged, they don't cope with that very well. So it's a really lovely herb to use that way. It's also anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, and anticoagulant. So they're the other things. There are quite a few studies done on Dan Shen, and recent studies. The most recent one I can see is a 2016 study that they were using it in people with ischemia-induced renal failure. And what Dan Shen did is it protected and down-regulated the expression of inflammation in macrophages inside the kidneys, especially reducing something called tumor necrosis factor alpha and interleukin-6, which are two of our really pro-inflammatory cytokines. And so that really helped the kidneys to heal. So I think they're the big things I want to say about it, but we know it massively is this cardiovascular tonic. And I guess the big thing I want to say is it definitely will increase blood pressure. And you do need to be careful if you're taking warfarin or other anticoagulants, because it is an anticoagulant or antiplatelet medication, because it may potentiate the effects of that. So, always check with a specialist before starting a new herb. But yeah, they're the things that I flag about Dan Shen.
I want to double click on the tumor necrosis factor alpha and the interleukin-6 piece.
Yeah.
That's really big deal. And it's going to the root of the body's inflammatory process and like redirecting. So as I understand those cytokines, those interleukins and cytokines, they're messengers for immune cells. Mm-hmm. And so when the immune system is amped up and there's inflammation, because inflammation is part of the immune system, like ostensibly it's a good thing, mm-hmm. until it's not. And for a lot of us, it's this smoldering fire that's there all the time. Both Fiona and I had fires. So we had really major fires here. Fiona had major fires where they were. And even though I couldn't see those fires, the sort of smoldering effect of that smoke was affecting my house. It was affecting my breathing. It was affecting everything. It's kind of like what inflammation is. And no tissue can really heal if there's that there. So that's another really important piece. I'm so glad you brought that up. In my clinic, I will often test if I'm working with anybody for anything, but let's just say it was kidney stuff, I'll actually test to see which interleukins or which cytokines may be aggravating a condition, and then try to figure out which of these herbs, like our herbal formula, then I can test the herbal formula to see what's really going to help dampen that. So critical. The other thing I wanted to say too, and we just did a really cool video on anxiety and depression. And one thing I like about Dan Shen, and this is more from the Chinese medical side of things, but it has sort of a soothing effect on the heart. And in Chinese medicine, or in that worldview, the mind is in the heart. I think that's really cool. As Westerners, we tend to think the mind is here. The mind is actually everything. The whole body is your mind, right? But I love that idea of the centrality of the heart, and it has sort of a balancing effect. And I'm not suggesting that it's anxiolytic medication, but it does tend to help people keep an even keel. And then our formula, it's amazing because the way the herbs work together, it generally has some positive effect on mood and energy. So I do like that about Dan Shen a lot as well.
Yeah, awesome. It is definitely one of our favorite herbs. And when we put the kidney disease solution together originally, it was the first herb that kept coming up in all the research and one that I often use commonly. So we love Dan Shen.
Yeah, cool. And our formula is great because the herbs in there will accentuate the effectiveness of Dan Shen. That's the magic of the grouping of those herbs, is that they sort of work together to make each of them more powerful than they are alone, and the group of them is more powerful than the sum of the parts. So that's super cool. That's the magic of herbal formulation. So click below to see more about those formulas, and make sure you got the kidney disease solution, where we go into depth about all of these herbs, as my friend.
Thank you, herby friend. Remember to subscribe to our channel. If you need more information about the kidney disease solution or anything that we do, head over to kidneycoach.com. And we look forward to seeing you next time. Hopefully you found this useful. Bye.
Later.